Then another thing, before you create a pivot, you have to make sure that you have a header, you have a heading for your data. All your fields, I can call them columns, but they are fields, they must be having headings. And none of the fields should be having a blank header. Let's say if you find that this header is blank, that one you will not have what you need to get through the analysis. So Control Z and getting back our deleted data. So we are creating a table first. You go and insert, you create a table. So it will select all the data from 1 to 9,995. Those are the number of rows we have. Actually, we have a lot of data this time. So we shall say, yes, my table has headers, then you click OK. So it will always change this because it is what you set as default for your table style. So sometimes you may not need the style, it is too dark, you can always bring it back to the light style like this. So you see like nothing have changed, but ideally this one is no longer just a range of data, but it is a table. The moment it gives you a design tab here, it means that it is already a table. So we can name this table, maybe we can call it like all data. And remember I told you that if you have to use a name that has more than one word, you always use underscore. Make sure that you don't use spaces to create errors. So our data is already encapsulated into a table. So we are making sure that anything we do, any adjustment we do, the refresh is automatic. So now leaving that, we are creating a pivot. Still, we go and insert pivot. So like how I told you yesterday, since we have already created our data into a table, it will always tell you that, yeah, this is the name you gave to your table. And I'm sure that, yes, all my data is selected. Not as when it is the range, you find that some data is skipped out in the selection. So we put our pivot on a new worksheet, say yes, then this is it. We are all aware about this one. I'm just going to be quick on this since we did most of the part yesterday. Now today maybe we shall go through again the grouping. I show you the further grouping we did. Yesterday we did the grouping of dates. If I can do a quick recap on it. Let's say we said that when you drop a date column in 2 rows, and maybe you give it anything like cells. If, for instance, we wanted to group this one by year, just click in that field. Make sure that it is you are selecting a cell. So click in that field, go to Analyze, then you'll always find a group field here. So for dates and time, we always use this automatically, but for the other groupings, we use the grouping on top, group selection. So group field, then here you'll choose the grouping you need. It is now in days, so I can choose either months, I can choose quarter, you can even choose more than one. Let's say if I choose the 3 and say, okay, you see it is 2014, then it chooses a quarter, then January, February, March, that is quarter 1, quarter 2, like that. So it is at your liberty, the levels of grouping you need. So you can remove months or quarter and remain with years, still it will do so. We did that yesterday. So it is just a recap. Then I said, we also said that formatting the data you have put, I know some people think like, if I want to put commas in these numbers, I will click here, put commas. Yes, that one is possible. But now for pivot tables, when you do that, it means you're going to do one by one. And the moment you do that, and at some point you refresh, or you put another data, it will go back to default it was. So with pivot, this is what we do. Just right click in your data. We always have a number format. So you use this number format, click on number format, then it will bring for you this dialog, then select the number format you need. This time maybe we need that, we are common, then we say yes. You see all the data will be done at once. And even if we change data in future, we change maybe the field of rows, still our data remains the same. So that is it. Then we also looked at another recap on analyze. So on designer, we looked at the layouts, so of which I'm going to put it in tabular form such that I have the headings labeled, not putting for me. Control Z, you see, it just has row labels, but we need that label. We need to know what is this. So you just go and change the report layout from compact, we put it to tabular. It will always give you the headings of those fields. So that is it. We talked about all the others, removing the grand totals, putting them back. We said that it is now no longer news. We talked about how to repeat the labels. We talked about how to remove blanks and put blanks after every item. Let's say you say insert and insert the blanks. Now, I don't know whether I talked about this, but this is all about the styles. If you want to put branded rows, you see how you brand the rows. You can select how you want to brand them. You can even brand the columns, but we don't need that. It's not much vital in the analysis we want to do. So the other design, it is just at your own consumption. You can do anything depending on how you feel like your data or the dashboard. You know, the dashboard, you may have the colors you have chosen, and you know we don't need to use more than 3 colors, so you'll always choose your pivots to rely with the colors which you have already chosen in your headings or in your presentation. So it is at your disposal to always come and select what you want. So I know at the moment in the design part of it, there is nothing much now we are worried of. Maybe in analyze, that's where we have maybe some of the parts we have to look at. Now, yesterday, I know we did a conclusion on how we insert slicers. I want it to be the major thing to look at today, how we insert slicers and how we do a calculated field. How can you add a calculated field if it is a requirement? Maybe can I get a yes to understand that I'm not speaking to myself?
Yes.
We are following.
You know, network may have already disappeared in myself. Okay. So now today we are going to create like a simple dashboard, but something that can make up a report in a summary. Yes. So that one, to do it, we know all of us that you can use this same pivot table to select out the year you want, to do filters actually. You can say now I want 2015. Yes, you get it. But if you had more than one table or one
What's
pivot,
wrong with that first date?
This one. Here.
That one.
This one, it was giving less than, I think this is the first date and this is the last. So because we are grouping, it is putting that if there is anything which is greater than 2017, it will be lying. But since we don't have, this is the first date and this is the last date we have in our data. So this one comes because this is not a column for year. It is a column which we have grouped. So Excel goes ahead to put a scenario that if there was something less than 2014, in other words, if you added data and it is less than 2014, then it has to be catered also. Then if you added data that is greater than 2017 or the last data that we have, then it has to be catered for. That's what it means.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, let's say we can add here more fields. I can add quantity on this. So this is the quantity. Let me see, because I'm looking forward to have a calculated field. So these are sales, these are quantities. If we say, let's say now, let's begin with a calculated field. I will do a calculated field. For instance, we want the rate for for each quantity. Let's say this is the sales, the total sales which were done in 2014. But in 2014, they tell us that there was a sum of quantities, 7,581. If you want to see at what rate did they sell each, just in case. So which means there you just said it is in layman's calculation, it is this divided by this one. You get? So we find that this is that every item was sold maybe at $63 to make sure that they get this total sum of sales. Yeah. But now if we want to do that continuously and for all the data we have, do we have to do it for 2014? And when we scroll, yes, it may give us 2015, but the moment if we change this grouping as how we know and took it back to months, we remove the years. Shall we remain with the other calculation we had done? Obviously, no, it has already given us a ref error, which means the data we used is already gone. So now this is what we do. I'm taking this one back, Control Z. Now, we want to have the rate for each item. You click in the pivot, you go in Analyze. We shall always have here field items and sets. Now, in that list, there is calculated field, there is solve order, there is a list of formulas, but for now, our focus is on the calculated field. We want to have a calculated field such that even if I change the years and I put there either countries or other categories, still my calculation will still remain standing. So let's try that one out. So I will say calculated field. Now it tells me, yeah, give the name of the calculated field. I will say I want the rate for each item. So the rate for each item, and we are well sure that getting the rate for each item, we are getting sales, we are dividing them by quantity. This one, I'm just doing assumption. It is not that it is a standard formula. So I will just say equals to, you go and look for sales, the field for sales. This is the field for sales, double click on it, then divide by, you look for the field of quantity, which is this. So which means I'm getting sales divided by quantity. Then I say add. So at the moment, you'll see that a field is already added, rate for each item. That field is added. But that field is not part of the columns in our raw data. It is not part of the column, but you have it already in your calculation. So I will say, okay. So it is here already added. I can, maybe we can change this. I have told you if you want to change, you use number format. You come here, we can change these decimal places to 1 or 2. 2 are enough, okay, 2. So this is it we are having. Now, this is the beautiful part of it, which means even if I removed the years, let's say I brought category and I removed the years, my calculated field will still remain for the furniture sold in, the furniture sold was this, and these are the items of furniture, and it gives you the quantity of furniture which was sold. The office, even if I remove that and put some categories, my calculated field still gives me what exactly I want. But when we come this side in our raw data, it is not part of our data, but it is already field calculated. So continuing with my analysis, I may even have more than 10 calculated fields, but someone gets amazed to find that my data has like 3 columns, but I'm having more data this side because I have more of the calculated fields. So when you want to calculate, it is not necessary to add a column. I would have come here, add a column and say it is equal to sales divided by quantity. Yes, it would give me the same thing. When I change this heading, I can use this in the pivot. But telling you what, This one makes the data more heavier than it would have been. So I know Susan should be understanding this now. We have dealt with yes.
I see how you do your shortcuts now.
So we have dealt with data like the data freezes. You finish like 1 minute waiting. You do even other things. Every time you click, it freezes. So most of the cases, we don't need additions of columns, but we can always have it in where you're doing analysis from. Even we can add another calculated field. We can say, we're going to analyze, we say calculated field. Now, this time, let's have percentage sales. Percentage sales. I don't know whether it will give sense. Or we can have profits in percentage, but that one doesn't give sense. We can show you another option how to do it. Another option may be to add a percentage of anything. Yesterday I told you, you don't need to again go on your data, you add percentages like you say, then here it will be equal to profit, then divide by the sum of profits. You get that one is the repetition, you're adding more heaviness on your data. So what we do, if you want like the percentage of the profit of every item, drag anything and put it there. Okay, we need profits. Drag profits and put it there. Those are the profits. But we want to look at them in terms of percentage. So just right click on it, come on show value as, then you say, I want you to show this value as a percentage of the ground total. You can even show it as a percentage of another total. You can show it as a percentage of the sales total you get. So it is not a must that here you can say percentage of column total or any total, you can choose any total. Now, this one is grand total. Then everything will be changed into that percentage. And at the end of the day, you must be having 100%. So this is this. So let's say if we wanted to look at the sum of profits as a percentage of the sales we are doing. So here you'll be show us, then you come here percentage of, then it will tell you to choose what you want. So you choose anything here, percentage of accessories, percentage of. It means that now I'll not be looking at a total, but I'll be looking at something else, which you may choose from that side. So there are many things you can convert your data into minus adding columns the other side. So I hope for calculated fields, we are fine now. For calculated fields, there is nothing much. It is always putting the heading of the field and you put your formula, which is always this plus this divided by this minus the other one. Those are the simple formulas we can always find in these calculated fields. And even better, you can go ahead even and put, you can even go ahead and put a field. Let's say, let's put a field which is going to test these accessories. And we say like, if something is greater than this, maybe, I don't know whether the if function, we are all conversant with it. You can even put a formula of if, like if this one is greater than the other one, then give me a yes or no. You can even put such a formula. You can even have the VLOOKUPs there, but I don't want to go to more complicated functionalities, just keeping it simple for today. But that is that for calculated fields. Maybe if there is any question, I beg to proceed. Okay. So still perusing through the analyzing tab, I want to make sure that by today we know everything that is in the analyzing tab. Now, for the field function, we are done. For the calculations, these two, we may not consider them now, maybe because of the version of the Excel we are having or the data we are having. This one deals with if you are having a pivot table which is getting data from more than one worksheet. let's say if we are picking from more than 3 worksheets, then that's where you have to consider the relationships. We shall do that in an advanced stage. So the calculation subtab we are done with it. Then now I move to the tools. Okay, beginning with the tools on the show. Sorry, beginning with the show. Here, this one just activates and inactivates what you want to see and what you don't want to see. So if I say field headers, I don't know whether you see the changes. It is removing the field header, which was the subcategory. So on and off, it removes. Then the buttons, this one, we don't have buttons at the moment, but yesterday when we created the chart, you saw the buttons where we are filtering from. So that's where you do the on and off. Then this is the field list, which is this one. So if you don't want to look at it, you just remove it. Or if you ever create a pivot and you look for the field list and you can't see, just come to analyze and activate it here. It will always reappear. So this field, the pivot table field, also there are many ways we can convert it depending on how you want to look at it. You can always come here on settings, change it in that way. You can change the view in any way you want, but by default, always we have this. Okay. Now you can also sort the data from A to Z, such that when you're looking at these fields of yours, they are not in the order of the data where they are coming from, but they're in the order of alphabet, such that it becomes easy for me to look for a field like S. I know I will have to scroll down and look for it. Like C, I know I will have to come up and look for it. So it is always done here. So if you sort data by source order, which means you'll sort it by the order it is in the other table. Here you do like this. And indeed, you see that row ID comes first. And it is just juggled in that way. So you can select either that is always suitable for you. Then this one is all about the expanding and collapsing. We don't have anything expanded here. So that's why we don't have that. Now, there is something else I want to show you on grouping. I want to drop this, then bring countries. Let me see, countries, state. We'll look for, let me bring states. I remove categories. I think you see that even though I'm changing the fields, these columns remain the same. They bring data depending on what I've changed. So your calculated field will always stand. So now,
yeah, I see.
If there is an instance, sorry. Okay. So if there is an instance that you have data, this one is now like a calculated field. We don't want to add, let's say if we grouped these.
Submit.
I'm just going to do
Submit.
Yes, Rina.
Hello?
Hello?
You're breaking. You're breaking.
I think my network is becoming unstable.
Network is not stable, eh?
Can I switch network? But how is it now?
I'm hearing like network? One word in a sentence. Eh? Susan, can you hear us a bit?
So shortly I'm going to switch network. I hear you, but you're breaking. Eh?
Me, eh? Me or all of us?
I think we are all breaking.
Network.
Or it is me who is breaking.
On my end, you're now stable.
So let me switch network, okay?
Okay.
Let me switch network. I may jump off a bit, but I'll. Renata.
Hello?
How is it now?
Sabit?
How is it now?
Hey.
Renata, how is it now?
You're still breaking.
Hello.
That's better, huh?
It's
Sabit?
better. Eh?
Yes, now I can hear you very
Yes.
clearly.
So I've switched network. I'm hotspotting from phone, which means every time they call me, I may lose network, but we can do it for the last minutes remaining. Hope I'm clear. Then I can resume.
Very clear.
Clear.
Ah, okay. Okay. I was on a point that, for instance, if these are states, I'm going to group them here such that we can understand what I'm talking about. Then group this also. Then the last one, I just want to make it, I just want to make 3 groups. So if this one, we call it East region, and I'm not meaning that these states are in the East, they shouldn't show me. So this is in the West, this is the West region. Then we call this as the North region. Now, there are 2 options you can have here. The first option is going to the other sheet of ours, we add a column which we shall call region. Then in that column, we VLOOKUP this. So where the column, in that column where we find Alabama, we call it East. Where we find Arizona, we call it East. Where we find the California, we call it East. I think we can do that. We can do that. We can call regions just for the case of understanding what I'm talking about. I may come here and say this one anyway, which means in that form, I will have called anyway, something I'm testing out. I just want us, all of us, to understand what I'm talking about. So if from here, from Alabama to Indonesia, Indiana, this is East. From there to New Hampshire, that is West. Then from New Hampshire to the last one, we call it North. Now, let me remove this. It was just another way of doing what we wanted to look at. Now, if we want these regions to be VLOOKUP to the other side, such that everywhere we find Alabama, we call it East region. Then we shall come this side, create a column. Actually, we have another column for region. That's why it is giving a region 2. So yeah, we have another column for region. Sorry for that. Maybe you can call us ours another thing. Can call it province. Yeah, we can go with province. Now it means that I will come and say I want a VLOOKUP. Then we are VLOOKUPing up what? We are VLOOKUPing up the states, these states. Then comma, our range is this side. I know we all understand the VLOOKUP. Then we want column 2, then comma 2. We want exact, then comma 0. So this is how we do our VLOOKUP. Then you enter. So when it is a table, do you see the magic that has happened? When it is a table, so long as you put a formula, it is flash filled in all your data. I know now Renata should be knowing about flash fill now. This is the symbol for flash fill. So
Yes,
it means
I
the
do.
data has been, we have done a flash fill. Now, it means here when I come in my, in my pivot, I can change this. Actually, we have to refresh. Just come here and refresh, such that we have now a column for Provis. Where is Provis? Okay, A to Z. Provis is here. So I may change the states now to Provis like this. And it will give sense for you, the East region, the North region, the Western region. And it will give you the totals, it will give you this, it will give you all blah, blah, blah. Now, if you never wanted to do it like that, this is how we do it. We bring back our states. We undo, we bring back our states. So these are our states. You don't want to create a column. I've already told you that most of the things we do not to create more columns in our data. So if you never wanted to create the other column, this is what you should have done. You would have come and selected those states, you know. They can even be not in order, but if you are selecting something not in order, you select, you press a control, you go on selecting, you press control, you go on selecting different cells. That one is also okay. But good chance ours are in order. So the first one up to Indiana, this was the East region. So what do you do here? Which means we are skipping something of creating an addition column. So what you do here, you come and right click, you see there is group here. We are going to group them. If you don't use this grouping, you come in analyze, you have the group selection here. You can use any of the two. So I will right click here, I say group. You see it is grouping these states. You see it has created something else where it is showing me that this is group 1. But now these are the states. So you come and click there. So we click here, you edit this and call it East region. You enter. So we shall have already grouped this directly in our pivot data. Then you come to the next, which was from lower to where? To New Hemisphere. We called it West. I'll just copy that. Now you come and select this.
Just above? No.
Here. You come and select this, still right click, group. You see we have created the second group. Click there, then this is now the West. Then the remaining, I'm sure just it is all North region. So click there, I can use arrows, right click, group, then I call this group North region. So enter. Now I can collapse these. You see, the moment I collapse them, I'm going to create another pivot table. I'm just going to copy paste this here. I want to show you something. This time, you see in this pivot table, the second field, we haven't given it a name. We can, you click on it if you want to give it a name. The grouping, we haven't given it a name. Click on it, come on field settings, you give it a name from here. Let's call it Provis underscore shortcut. Let's call it shortcut such that we know the difference. Now, the same data here, remember we created a column for region. This time I want to remove this state, these two, I bring the province. So I'm going to bring the province. Where is the province? It is here. So I'm removing this. I'm removing this. So when you look at this data, I can extend it up for visibility. Let me cut it, extend it here. So when you look at this data, anyway, here we had a grouping of states. Let's remove them such that we are in the same line. So you see what we did at first? We created the shortcut directly into the pivot table, which was very simple and quick. This one, we had to create a column. We had to VLOOKUP. We had to now consider it as a different column, such that we can have our sales quantity, blah, blah, percentage for every region. So that's where we create a difference. There is this which you did as a shortcut. Me, that one I'll always give it a green, and this one I'll always give it an amber, because you do a lot to have this than the other one. So I know now we get a difference. Actually, that's the last part I was remaining with on groupings. So we now all understand, sorry, we now all understand what grouping comes about with. So there are many kinds of things you can do in grouping. And we have also understood what you can do with calculated fields. So you see here, even they are showing you that this one is a calculated item, something like that, but I'm not going to go further in that. There are some which we may not need to know now because they take us deep into something else, which we don't want to divert to. So that's a difference we have. Creating a column on data and having the edits done directly into a pivot. We rather go with edits done into a pivot. It reduces on the heaviness of the file. You remain having the same analysis done. You remain having all the graphics and everything done. By the end of the day, one will be having a lighter data and another one will be having a heavier data. So also, you also always mind on how you're going to share that data. If it is attaching it in another system, you find that you take a lot of time to upload something like that. Or you add more work to people to analyze columns you have added. It also brings in errors, because if you use a VLOOKUP with an error, you automatically get something different than you would have done it this side. I think that is it. Now let's move on something else, which is the slicers. I just want to end with those today. I'm deleting this one. Up. So I'm removing the formatting output. I'm removing this. Now you can imagine that you did a VLOOKUP, you have deleted where you did a VLOOKUP from, you go back to your data, it is showing error. You get. And you have already done graphs, you have spent like 2 days doing a report and you already have an error. So you find that the pivot has not been shaken, but ideally we have created another calculated field which we called the promv is shortcut somewhere. It is here, actually it is here. So I think that is it. Now we can move to something else. Now I'm going to move to slicers. I'm going to create slicers, and we are going to create more than one pivot table such that we can look at other. Then something I've not talked about, renaming these headers. Someone else may say, me, I don't normally want to look at the sum of. So when you're done with all your data, you can always replace that sum of. You're going to note something. I want to do something, then you note it. When I remove the word sum of and delete it and remain with cells, the moment I enter, it tells me that the pivot table field name you're trying to use already exists, which means I can't use the heading as cells because it is already existing. So to do that, I'll always create a space in front of that word cells. So when I enter, it will be okay because we have cells without space in it in front. You also do the same here, which means when you delete this, you leave a space such that quantity is different from the quantity in the table. So that's how you can create it always. Then the easy part of it, you can always do it like this. Just copy the whole thing, the word of sum of, copy it. If you have many tables and you want to remove all the sum of, like here we want to remove all that too, just say control find, paste it there. I want to find this, then replace it with space. So you'll do okay, and everything will be changed even if you had more than one pivot tables. So now this one becomes more smart without the word sum of. But the moment you remove any field from here and you bring it back, the sum of will always come back because it shows you here what you were doing, either count or average or anything. It will always come back. So that is it. Now we are having slicers. Can we create more two pivot tables such that it can be easy for us? And we shall create after having the first slicer. Now you'll click here, go in analyze, insert a slicer. So inserting a slicer, it will give you all the fields. Now you'll ask yourself, we want to filter this data by what? It is already in regions. Maybe I may want to filter by date. Where is date? Order ID, order ID.
Order date is there.
Order date, yeah, here. Say okay. Now you see, I remember Renata, you were asking this, the other time. So
Yes.
these ones now here, it's where they help, which means you see when they are faint, it means there is no data here that is being looked at for these. Less than 2014, that date, greater than 2017, that date, which means if I click here, nothing is there. If I click here, nothing is there. But if I click 2017, it will bring for me data for 2017. If I click 2016, it brings data for 2016. If I click 2015, that is that. I think you see the data changing. Yeah?
Yep.
Now, before I have slicers, let me first do this. Another option, we always do it like this. Okay, people have been doing it like this. For easiness, someone who is not aware that we have slicers, that person will always drag the date order and put it in filters here. Not so. Then it is where in filters, that person will always select 2014, then data changes for 2014. Then select 2017, data changes for 2017 and 2014 for the 2 years. 3 years, you get the same thing. But now this one is more of tiresome to do that if you are having a lot of data to look at, which means every pivot will have its own filter. I don't know whether you understand that. Let's create another pivot. Copy and paste this pivot. Let's we have pasted values. You know, I didn't copy pivot, so I should have copied from up. Paste here. Now, this time instead of promise shortcut, let's have states. We remove promise shortcut. So you see, now it means that if I was to filter out this data, I will filter here. Let's say I'm selecting all of them. Then I should also come on this one and I select all of them. So if I had more than two pivots on this sheet, I'll go on doing filter every time. Every time I want to analyze my data somewhere, I'll come back and filter everything, which doesn't give sense at some point. But now this gives sense. So let's remove those filters. Let's remove those filters. Now we remain with, I think I will ask to change this one, copy. Let me put it here. Then I delete this one off. I don't know whether anyone figures out the instance why I've done that. I've removed the pivot from down. I'm putting it in the same line with the other one. This one means that if this pivot you changed and that data was to proceed downwards, it was going to give you an error because it was going to be blocked by this one, which was starting from here. You understand?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why I've brought this. So when we are dealing with pivots, if you have your calculated, you can always call this one like a calculation sheet. You can always have them in that horizontal way, that side, you go that side, than having them clamped on each other. Now, let's have a slicer. I had already shown you how we have slicers. I'm having a slicer of date. Where is date? Where is date? Order date, order date. This. Okay, that is one of the slicers. Can we have another slicer? Let's have another slicer. You can click in any of the two, but let me first use one. Then I will show you how we do combine them all together. Let me have another slicer of product ID. What should we have that is going to be short? That is not going to lengthen everything. Customer name. I do have few customers. The customers are very many. Customers are very many. So let me look into the data. I see. Okay, we go with category. Hope we don't have category in one of the fields. Okay, we go with category. We get another slicer of category. This. So this is Kawa. Now you can reformat this by right clicking. You come on slicer settings. You can reformat them like here you see display header. You can change this header and make it something else you want rather than showing category. You can sort them ascending, descending, anything you want. I think that is it. Then there is first, shorten this. Now, if I want to look at furniture that was sold in 2014, I'll click on furniture, then click on 2014. I will automatically look at Eastern region. They sold this amount on furniture only, and they sold 674 furniture in 2014, and this was the rate and this was the profit of all the regions. So the highest region here in the sales of furniture was this. Why? And it sold few quantity there. You're analyzing your data now. Why is it? Because this one was selling at a higher rate. You understand something like that. So like we said yesterday, if you want a graph of something like this, you just click on Alt F1, it will bring for you a graph. So you'll find that the graph that has been brought, it is only looking at it has included the grand total somewhere. That's why you see the highest bars, which means here you can come and in design and remove the grand totals. So when you refresh here, these ones are sales. I get it now. So those ones were sales. That's why they were higher than the other figures. But you can go ahead and filter out if the data you don't need it. But that's how you can filter out. Now, what the graph you're looking at here is only for furniture, which means if I want a graph for office supplies and maybe 2014, if I want more than 2 years, you press a control and click on another year. You see, the graph is changing automatically. There is nothing we need to do. The graph changes automatically depending on the filters you are making. Technology, the graph changes. Maybe 2017. That is. Now, you realize that these two pivots are from the same data, but when I was filtering using my slicer, this one was not changing because it is not connected to this slicer. So someone may ask himself or herself that should I even create slicers for this? No. There is an option of connecting the two to work for all the pivots. So remember there was an option before of naming our pivots. So you can name this pivot as, we name it as regional. Then you can also rename this pivot. We rename this one as states. Such that I can have a difference between the two. This one I'm calling it states, this one I'm calling it regional. Now, when you click on this, on the pivot, it will always bring its options here. Remember when we are in the pivot table, it has its options, its tools. When you click on the slicer, it also comes with its options. So when you go on options, there is, you see we have slicer settings here, then we have report connections. So the slicer settings, we saw that by right clicking, which was okay. Now there is this report connection. So when you click on this, it will show you that that slicer is connected on pivot called regional, but it is not connected on states. So I can also tick this and say, okay, you get, which means now when I click 2014, even this table is changing. You understand? So you find that even if I had 100 pivot tables, I can control them with one slicer. So I think that is it. Now, we also connect the same. You click on it, options, then report connections, you tick. So you can even be having more than one. Then you select which one to be considered in filtering, or which one should not be considered. So it is up to you, knowing that I want this to be considered this way. So I can say okay. Now, do you know that slicers is one of the way, or it is the beginning of you coming up with a dashboard? So just a recap, I know we have just 10 minutes to make it 18:30. Let's use the 10 minutes to just do a summary somewhere, such that we see the major purpose of using slicers. Now, then something else I want you to also always just have for discipline in data, maybe as a good practice. When you find that these grid lines are not always so much important to your view, you can always go to view and remove them, because now we are dealing with pivots and other things. So such that you remain with just a blank sheet where you can easily tell that this is lying here. So this is it. Now I'm creating another sheet. I want us to do something there, like in summary. I can call it a dashboard, but I'm doing this for an introduction for another day. And the next time we come, we are going to create a dashboard. So I'm going to cut these slicers, take them on my dashboard, paste them here. So you can rearrange them like this. You can even create more slicers, like for other items. You also come and include them here. You can have your heading by inserting either a text here, this. So inserting, sorry. You can insert a text field. Let's call it dashboard. Have this enlarged and change its color to green. Change this to white, bold, center. So I'm trying to be quick, just we are managing time. Now what I want to create graphs and bring them here. Now we go back to our calculation field. Now I'm going to select this, or you can do the other shortcut bit we all already have, or you can select on it, you come on analyze, you come on pivotal chart. Here it's when you don't want for it to bring for you a default one. You know, Alt F1, it brings for you a default of which you have to go back and change. If you don't want this, you go and change it to another type. But you can always have your own. You come on pivotal charts, then you select exactly what you want. So you can select any chart. There are many types of charts you can go with. So we can have these smaller ones on their own axis, you see. Yesterday, Renata, you remember I told you this will be for another day. Now this is the day. If you want a right axis, so you can always come this side in settings, you add the secondary axis. So let's leave cells on the other axis, then we add these on the left axis, on the right.
A
So
question,
we can,
Sabiti. When you're doing the secondary axis, is there anything you should take note? Like how you said, putting smaller values on the.
Yeah, you take note of, like now, since they're all sums, like cells. Now, automatically here, you see that cells is in dollars. That's another unit. Quantity, those are units. They are units, 1, 2, 3. So it automatically changes them that they can't stand on the same axis. You get, yeah?
Yeah.
So since this is dollars and this is quantity, I can never analyze data of different units on the same axis. That's why I'm looking at changing this here. So it is now up to you also. You can always say now this quantity, let me make it a line. You come and bring it as a line. Or you do all the changes. They said you can even make it an area, stacked area, something like that, depending on how you will easily analyze your data. But here it is speaking as clustered. You can change it in that way, but here it doesn't give sense. One in vertical, another in. So you always choose something that at the end of the day, it analyzes something and gives sense. So I think this is it. So we have gone with clustered. So I'm creating quantity on the axis, the other axis. So then the cells remain on the other part of, though now, sorry. Though we find that some of the blue on the other bars is not showing, of which that one we shall have to change it from somewhere else. So here we shall do okay. This is one of our charts. So when you click here, format chart, area chart settings somewhere. There is, then series, we are looking for cells. There is something I'm looking for. Anyway, I will get it later. There is an option, Susan, where you say that let this data start from 20,000.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to call you one time to help me with that.
Yes, actually, I'm going to get it, only that I think I'm just getting lost where it is, but it is there where you command an axis to start from, such that that's why we are finding that the blues are very small, because anyway, this is the thing. Now you are seeing like quantity which we are meant to be small, they are the largest. So there is how you play with those axes, such that you can even give them the same unit, but there is a way you play with them such that you get a definite analysis. Or you can go back and change one to be a line, another one to be a bar, because here you can't convince someone that this blue is in 200,000 and this one is just 4,000. it doesn't give sense to someone else. So, but for now, that one will be another day. I just wanted to show you something small, like setting up a dashboard. Like you can bring that graph here. You can remove the legends. We don't need them. Then we go back, select this pivotal chart. Here we can have a line. Can have a line chart. This, okay. Now this line chart we can design. You know, I wanted to remove the other series. I think my head is tired now. Legends. Anyway, I wanted to remove the others such that I remain with only cells, but let's do it the manual way.
You've started breaking.
Yeah, I've started breaking. I think network is getting lost. So
Even here, it is telling me it's unstable.
Oh, it is yours. Because when it shows unstable on your side, then
It
it
could
is
be.
yours.
It could be.
Okay. So we can have something. I just want to have, let me have a pie chart actually. But will it give sense? It will not. Can have that line.
Oh, yeah.
Then okay. Horizontal category axis. Delete off that one. So I'm having this. I also cut it. I bring it on the dashboard. Now this one, cancel these. I don't want to look at them. So you can have many things. We shall see even how we have scoreboards like showing numbers, blah, blah. So I wanted to show you that the importance of slicers in Excel. When you create a dashboard, you should always have slicers, such that when you're previewing or presenting, it is just a matter of selecting here. Since our data, the other side, we had connected this slicer with the two tables, you see that every change I do, the changes are happening for all. So that's the major purpose we always have for slicers in dashboards. We shall have to look an extended part of it when we we come to look at dashboards next time. Dashboards from Pivot. I think we shall be summarizing Pivot from there. Then we go on something else. But by now I know with Pivot
I
at
think my
least.
network is tired.
And it is 1 minute past the time we had scheduled.
My network.
So hello.
Network.
Anything maybe you need to ask me or to propose next time? Yes.
This dashboard, this does it work, or is it the same thing you use for the Google Sheets?
Now Google Sheets interesting. Google Sheets is more simpler because Google Sheet is another extended version of Microsoft. Since it is online, many the updates done on Google Sheets, they are less than those done on Excel. So Google Sheets has many things than Excel. Actually, you'll always find that doing analysis in Excel, I rather go and do it in Google Sheets, though it is online and it will be expensive. But all, when you understand all, it is you can work with them. We shall also see Google Sheets how it works, but it is nearly the same things we do, but with Google Sheets, some of the things you skip them. Like in Google Sheets, do a dashboard, you don't need a pivot. You don't need pivots. You can also use pivots, but you may do a dashboard without pivots, and you come out with all what you need to show up to the people you're presenting to data. So I think that is it. Maybe if there are more questions. So next time, let me open for you a dashboard I'm talking about. We need to look at just in 1-2 minutes, then we can I have a dashboard I should have created. Actually, I can't find it now. Okay, it is here. So anyway, I created it halfway. So this is what I was talking about. Like you can create a dashboard, put slicers. Now these are the scorecards, Susan, like you were talking about, like what I do in Google Sheets. Still, you can also do it in Excel. You see, it is possible. When I click on accessories, data changes. When I click on bikes, when I click on clothings, 2019. So you find data changes depending on how the slicers are done. I think that's what we shall come to do next week. That is next week, I think. Then we also look at charts in details. I know.
I want.
Yeah, because in charts there are things we are not normally used to, and they make data easy to analyze. Like spark lines and those things. You can just have those spark lines and a bit of them in dashboards, and it makes something easier to analyze and present. Okay, we call it a day. We are 5 minutes past the time. It is 6:35. Renata, are you still on?
I am on, but I had lost you. It's okay. We'll catch up. Yeah.
So I'll be sharing the link. When you have time, you can actually have to stop recording. Okay.